Alright guys, here we go. We're about to do the 61 players and this is going to be fun. It's really simple, really easy. I just want to first point out that we have already renamed and renumbered all of the different images right here on these, so you can see that number 9 is labeled 09, and you have, as we said just a minute ago, we always want to make sure that we do this 1 through whatever numbers they are. Okay, and then what we do is we first, as we showed before in the last slide, there are 61 items. So using that Extreme Team guide, I know how many I'm going to put in each row. So the first thing I'm going to do is just drag this kind of off to the side. I have multiple monitors, which is why that went away. And what we're going to do is find out what the canvas size is that we're going to be working on. So in Photoshop, all I do is Control-Alt-I, and that is going to give me, it says it's a 16 by 20 by 300, so I need to at least make my new canvas at least that big, but I'm going to go bigger than that because I want to make these bigger. So I'm probably going to double this, probably go to 40 by whatever that would be. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a new canvas, the 16 by 20 at 300, and then I'm going to go in, make that canvas, and then I'm going to go into that canvas size and I'm going to double this to 40, but make sure constrain proportions is on. So 40, and now that made it 32. Alright, so now I have this nice big canvas to work with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of my players and I'm going to drag them and drop them directly into this. Now if you're not using Photoshop 5, CS5 or above, this is not going to work. These are all going to open up in individual windows and you'll have to drag them in manually one at a time. So if you're going to be doing extreme teams, I suggest that you don't use this method. You need to upgrade Photoshop pretty much. So this is going to go, we just keep hitting enter as they come in, and we'll let this run for a minute. Now depending on how many players you have, obviously this will take longer, and also how big your files are as well. But we are done, and alright, let's move on to the next step. Now as you remember, we don't have to worry about this. I accidentally grabbed the template too. We'll go ahead and turn that off there and delete that. Alright, so one rule that you need to follow when you're building the team is if you size one person, you size them all. So right now this canvas, obviously I want to build the team on it, and remember we doubled the size of the canvas. So if you notice, everything came in as a smart object. A smart object means that if I shrink it down, apply it, the transformation, and then bring it back up again, then I am going to not lose quality of the image. But if I were to rasterize these right now, which I will rasterize them in a minute, and I shrunk them down and brought them back up, then we would lose quality. So right now all we're going to do is shrink them all down. So I'm going to grab all of them at the same time, do a free transform, which is Control T, and I'm going to shrink these guys down to a size small enough to work with. Alright, so we're just going to place these guys over here in the corner and hit apply. Now again, depending on how many images there are, how fast your computer is how long this takes. But typically not too long. But again, we are going to keep them as smart objects for right now. Alright, now here comes the scary part. This is the part that everybody is always worried about. It's going to take forever to build these, but because we have that Extreme Team guide, I know exactly how many people I need. So I'm going to start with the first person. I'm going to make sure Auto Select is turned on up here in the corner, and I'm just going to start grabbing. I need 11 people for the back row. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we can tell this guy right here is probably not sized correctly. He was probably shot maybe on a reshoot day or something, but he's probably not that small. So I'm just going to adjust him just a little bit, not too much, but just so that he at least looks like he's part of the group up there. And you'll notice that I'm aligning them by their shoulder pads, or by their numbers really, not by anything else. So I'm just aligning these guys up, scooting them over, and this is pretty much just like if you're on photo day, you're just telling this kid, okay, I need you to scoot over a little bit, I need you to scoot over a little bit, and I need you to scoot over a little bit. Alright, so now we have our back row. So the next number is 12. So we can come down to here, and we actually can come over here and do something even quicker. We can count over on the layers. So we can count 1, and holding down the control key, do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we can grab this group, and we'll go ahead and place him, because I know this number's bigger. We'll place him here, and we're going to move them to the top. And I did that by holding Control Shift right bracket. Now I'm going to bring the first guy over, because he was the higher number, over to the corner, and I'm just going to drag these guys over, putting them in the gaps. And by their numbers. That simple. Alright, so my next number is going to be 13. So I'm going to come down here, click on my guy down here, and work my way down the list, 13 people. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Grab that group. It's a bigger group again, so we'll start on the outside, bring them up to the top like we did before, and we'll drag this guy to the right. Now this guy again was probably a reshoot guy, so I'm going to go ahead and make him a little bit bigger and apply him, and then I'm going to drag over the rest of the guys. Now again, you don't want to have to guess, because this is where you can start really getting into some weird stuff. But if you have jersey numbers, typically the jersey numbers are the same size on every jersey, but that's not always the case either. So you always want to try to make sure you shoot and follow the rules that we talked about earlier. So again, just dragging these guys across. You could do an auto align and align these guys up, but I like putting them in one at a time, because I can put them exactly where I want them to stand, kind of like if I was at a photo shoot. Putting them right in the gaps, that way you can see everybody's jersey numbers. Okay, now we've got the next row, so we got 3 rows here, so the next row is 12, so I'm going to go click on my guy at the top of the list, go 12 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I know that's a smaller number, so I'm going to bring him right here. Bring that group to the top now. And drag over to the right. And this keeps everybody in number sequence. Remember, that's why we numbered everybody, so that we didn't have to try to figure out which file number was number 1 and which file number was number 2. This really speeds it up. You may think when you're renumbering all of these guys it's a tedious task, but it really speeds this up here at the final stage where we're putting the composite together. And I know what a lot of you are thinking, is there a way we can automate this? And to this day I have yet to find somebody who has actually had an automation program to put everybody exactly perfect without having to go in and still edit things. Now that means that we're at our last row, so that means everybody else is left. So all I have to do is just grab that group, and it is a bigger number, it's 13, so that means they're going to go right here on this corner, bring them to the front, and I'm going to grab and drag over to the side. Just like this. and just dragging and dropping. Just putting people where they need to go. Hey little guy, how about you stand up right there? And at this point you can see this guy was a little darker, so what we can do is adjust him in a second. So at this point I've got everybody done. I can select everybody and I can make them fill this frame. Now remember, this frame is twice the size of the canvas that we're about to put this on. So what I'm going to do is apply that transformation. Again, everybody is still smart objects at this point, because if I had not made them smart objects and I'd rasterized them already, they would have just gotten pixelated from me making them bigger. But I made them smart, kept them smart objects so that I could build the team to then put it together. So as soon as this gets done, what I'm going to do is, while they're all highlighted, come over and right click anywhere on the layers and say rasterize layers. Now they're no longer smart objects, but it makes their file sizes a lot smaller, so it's easier to work with at this point. Plus, you can't do any lightness or darkness adjustments without going into that smart object. So I want to be able to see the rest of the guys here. So I'm going to just go in here and I'm just going to bring his levels up a little bit so that he matches the people around him better. So there we go. Now at this point, all we need to do is grab the whole team and click and drag right over to the tab for this. Drop it. Do a Control T while they're all still connected. And we're just going to hold down Shift and Alt, and that is going to shrink the team down. And we just size it. Again, I have not hit apply yet. Bring them down a little bit so that their feet are underneath. Go ahead and hit apply. Let it transform. And there you go. There's your Extreme team. Very quick, not so scary anymore, is it? Alright, so back to the PowerPoint. Thank you.